Hey, this is Brad Johnson, and you're watching the Jboy Show.
Welcome to the Jboy Show, hosted by Jake Crain, the fastest growing sports show in the nation.
I'm Coach Hugh Freeze.
This is Super Bowl champion Brandon Graham.
Hey, this is DJ Shockley, and you're watching.
And thanks for watching the Jboy Show.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Whenever you're watching us, listening, however you're watching or listening, we appreciate you joining us. Got a great episode with father of Max Johnson, current LSU quarterback Brad Johnson, also Super Bowl champion with the Buccaneers. Going to get some great perspective and looking into it, being a player, then being a dad, watching your son playing that position at that high of a level. And really how LSU is going to look this year. I think it's going to be an inside perspective that you really like. But first, before I get to my monologue, as usual, got to shout out betonline.ag. Head over there today. The online casino is always open. We got the NBA playoffs gearing toward the finals. Shout out Phoenix Suns. Interested to see what the Hawks and Bucks do tonight without Trey and Giannis. Going to make that pretty interesting. Major League Baseball as well. Soccer, anything from parlays, teasers, pleasers, game props, team props, anything. Go to betonline.ag. And if you go there right now and sign up, you get a 50% signing bonus. They're the best in the game at signing bonuses, and this is a huge deal, so head over there and check them out today. That's betonline.ag. My monologue before we get to Brad is one then, and look, there's been a few cases where it has worked out. You look at Tua and Jalen Hurts, even though there was some, controversy, I guess you could say, but they handled it about as well as you could. And it's playing two quarterbacks. And the old adage is, if you have two quarterbacks that are playing, you really don't have one. And I'm a firm believer in having a guy, having a starter, having a guy that fits not only the identity of your team, the type of offense you're running, but that gives the other players kind of the guy to look at, the guy to carry the mantle. There isn't any controversy. They're not hearing different things in the huddle. Now, look, there's nothing wrong with Wildcat and mixing in some stuff and doing stuff like that to put a different player at quarterback for different scenarios. But trying to split guys up and playing, not only from a game standpoint, but from a practice standpoint, a lot goes with that and makes it a lot more difficult. Now receivers are getting balls from two different guys. You look at, Max and Miles, for example, at LSU. One's a lefty, one's a righty. They throw the ball different. The ball spins different. Their timing is different. When you go under center, which I don't think LSU is going to do a lot of, obviously even getting the snap from the shotgun from the center, you get comfortable with that guy. It's like a pitcher and catcher relationship in baseball. So there's a lot of obstacles that you have to overcome instead of saying, listen, this is the guy, and if it doesn't work out in the game, we have the ability to replace him. But what you can't do, and the trap that you cannot fall in, is to say, well, I'm worried that this guy may transfer, or he's going to be really upset, or this is going to upset a couple guys on the team if we don't play him, so we're just going to play both of them and see what happens. No. The best player plays. The quarterback that fits the system the best and gives you the best chance to win, no pun intended, that maxes out your potential, is the guy that should play. So I'm a firm believer in this, rope-de-dope, do-si-do of trying to play two guys and getting them in certain situations. I'm not a fan of that. What else it does, it really gives a lot of tendencies. You'll see this from teams. I use Georgia as an example, that, you got 4 or 5 great running backs. That's great. But when you only put them in there to do certain things, the defense is going to know that too. So when you're replacing quarterbacks, the defense is going to have a good idea of why you're using this guy. Typically, it's a guy that can run and a guy that can't. Well, hell, I got a pretty good idea what you're bringing him in the game for. So I'm a big believer in having a guy, tons of competition in the room, which is fantastic. Iron sharpens iron, whatever cliche you want to use. But those players need to be able to look at one guy and say, that's our starter right there. That's him. And where it really helps in practice, as I mentioned. That's my monologue for today. Let's get Brad Johnson in here, and let's dive a little bit deeper into the water cooler. All right, everybody, let's hop into the interview portion with a Super Bowl champion, father of Max Johnson, a quarterback at LSU right now, 2-time Pro Bowler, a guy I'm really ecstatic to get in here and talk some ball, Mr. Brad Johnson. Brad, what's up, man?
I'm doing great, man. Appreciate you having me on your show.
Hey, no doubt. Excited to get you on here. And, Brad, I'm going to get into Max and LSU here in a little bit. But first, I want to ask you, man, winning a Super Bowl in the NFL, you get to the top of the mountain. You played at Florida State, had a bunch of success, played in the NFL, had a bunch of success. What to you is the best quality that a championship quarterback can have? Or maybe two.
Quality is just being, being respected by your teammates and coaches, and being consistent every day in practice, in meetings, walkthroughs, game days, and knowing who you have, when things are good, when things are bad. So quarterback, it's like a pat on the back and slap on the face. It's only 6 inches away. And the better you are, the more consistent you are, the better things work out. But those are 2 qualities, being respected and being consistent.
And it's something I talked about. I talked about my monologue too. Kind of being the guy that the team gets behind and the guy that they can rally around, and on 4th and 1 that they can look to and, really look each other in the eyes and understand we're about to do this. What is one moment in your career, whether it be in college or the NFL, where it was a short down and distance and you had to get your guys going? Is there one that stands out, a memory that stands out on a big 4th down and short conversion or 3rd down and short conversion, maybe to ice the game?
I don't know if there's just one moment. I mean, honestly, it's in practice. It's daily. It's a daily grind. It's making one of the most important calls about a quarterback is decision making. What are you going to do with the ball? What audible are you going to check to? And so, I mean, been a million plays, weak right rest, 72 shake wide drive, halfback burst. There's triple right, F right, 259 Nebraska X seam, 22 X drive, halfback burst. So there's a million plays, but it's really about being that guy that makes critical plays on clutch moments. Yeah,
and it's funny. It sounds like you were Jon Gruden reading out a play right there, a guy that you're obviously very familiar with. And Brad, looking now in today's offenses, I mean, you look around the league, the days of triple option and, a lot of guys just lining up under center, running insert and powering an ISO down somebody's throat. As a quarterback, and again, you guys threw it. I'm not saying you didn't, but do you look at some of these wide open offenses now and you're like, man, that looks like a lot of fun. Just sit there and sling it around the whole game.
Right. The game has changed. I mean, when you go back and look at, Dan Marino and Dan Marino is more control, and they started widening things out. And a lot of times it'd be they call it Charlie Wright, act 4, 546, and you throw to one guy.
Yeah.
And then it became, you could make a full field reads. And then it became cover 3 and cover 2 audibles in the huddle. You'd have a kill call. And then it became, you could make an audible package. And then it became, you have dummy signals. And then the defense started doing those things. And then the game's expanded now to the RPO game. But at the end of the day, I'll go back to it. Quarterback is a decision maker. You got to be accurate with the ball. Got to make critical 3rd down plays and be great in the red zone, and then make great 2-minute drives and decisions. So I think at the end of the game, you can have guys that can scramble, guys that can make plays. At the end of the day, you got to have a guy that can deliver the ball.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, on Super Bowls, look at guys who usually win it as guys that can throw from the pocket. Yeah. So it may not be as exciting as you want, all these downs and all these plays and all these games, but the guy that makes plays, delivers in the pocket, at the end of the day, that's the guy that usually wins.
Sounds like Tom Brady to me right there. Tom's not going to go start running zone read anytime soon, but he'll murder you from the pocket. And you know something, Brad? I had Dave Thompson on here, Super Bowl champion defensive end with Strahan and the Giants, and he told me the 2 quarterbacks that in his opinion, and again, they're easy to say they're 2 of the best, but one of the reasons he said for that kind of surprised me, talking about Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. He said they are 2 of very few, if not the only quarterbacks that will throw the check down all the way down the field. Because you know as well as I do, Brad, I mean, quarterbacks are greedy. They want to take shots. OCs want to take shots, but it's almost like a death by 1,000 cuts. Do you see that? I mean, that's something coming straight from his mouth that on tape they looked at and were like, man, this dude will literally throw the check down 6 times in a row and get in 2nd and 4 every time.
There's no doubt about it. It may not be fun to the crowd, but at the end of the day, there's going to be a score.
Yeah.
You have to win the game. And so if you want to go throw long bombs and you go to the carnival at State Fair, and there's a place for making big plays. There is. But at the end of the day, I talk about decision-making accuracy and guys that can make the reads. A lot of times the guys are running because they don't know where their all 5 eligibles are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They don't. So you have to have outlets, whether it's just finding a check down or throwing the ball away. I mean, game manager is not what people want to hear, but those are the 2 greatest. And Drew Brees the same way. They're game managers. They make plays time and time again. They give their team a chance to win, and they don't lose ball games. So, the guy that runs the ball best on the field, he's the running back.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, when he catches the ball, it's danger. So you got all these great DBs and got great receivers, and you got to give them chances. But but back catches it out in open space. Good night, Irene, man. That's what you got to make. That's what it comes down to. And those are two great guys, obviously.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And I do, before we get, to your son and how cool that must be watching him. And I got some questions for you on that. But, playing for Jon Gruden, a guy that's still doing it, icon in the sport. I know you got some good Jon Gruden stories, man, or at least a funny moment or two that you could share with us if possible. I know he's got some good ones.
No, we'll keep it all good, So, but I just remember for Jon, when he came in there, we made a bunch of moves in free agency, okay? He brought in like 15 to 19 guys in free agency. In the first meeting he had, he said, Brad, we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. Do you believe me, He said, we're going to run blast off the Joker right X short, 22X drive, halfback burst. We're going to run U shift to green left west, F short, spike Q, Y banana, Z over, heads up for a 359 smoke. How is Warren Sapp, John Lynch, Monty Kiffin, Simeon Rice, how are they going to stop it, So he declared war on our defense, but we made each other, we made each other better. And I remember the first time I got in the huddle, I couldn't call the play.
It was so long. It's like a Harry Potter book, man.
Yeah, it was tough. It took a while to learn just how to call the play in the huddle, but we flowed together. He inspired me. He was actually easy for me to play with because you were with him 9 hours during the day. It wasn't like some guys that install and then they go back in their office and they go work on the game plan. You're with him all the time. You're learning football. He's a great teacher. So love playing for Jon Gruden.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that was great, and I enjoy watching him. And man, I thought the Gruden's QB camps, man, I could watch those things all day. And obviously, he's one of the smartest men, most innovative offensive minds in football. Speaking about innovative, did you know 80% of all the meat that you get is basically from the same place? And you need to look outside the box by going to Moink Box. And if you go to moinkbox.com/believe, you get free bacon for a year. These are the guys from Shark Tank that blew it out of the water. They said it was the best bacon they've ever had, and trust me. And I'm a hard grader of bacon. I love bacon. You might as well call me Kevin Bacon. I love bacon so much. And I'm a hard grader of it. And this is the best out there. They sent us a whole box. You can order the boxes. I mean, it's got lamb, ground beef, everything. And it's pure. It's not tainted with, antioxidants and all this other stuff. That's moinkbox.com. And you need to go to moinkbox.com/believe. And you get free bacon for a year. We're talking about NIL. There's your own personal NIL as a fan, free bacon for a year. That's Moink Box. And again, Brad, as we segue into Max and watching your son, last year he does a great job coming in. They beat Florida. I said the best pass in the game I thought was the shoe, but Max made some pretty good ones as well, especially down the field. But, before we get into the nitty gritty of it, do you get more, I don't want to say nervous. I'm not a parent yet. So this is a true 100% question. Do you get more nervous or anxious watching Max play than you ever got playing? Like, is that just a totally different feeling for you? It's got to be it's got to be awesome, first of all. But how is that feeling compared to playing? Yeah,
when you're playing, you're in control.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in control, whether you are or you're not. But you feel like you got your hands in, you got the ball in your hands. Mm-hmm. But as a parent, as a coach for Max, coached him pretty much out of the womb, all those youth football teams and middle school teams and high school teams. And then now as a parent, you want to be there just to support him. He has great coaches. He's in a really good system now. And it's fun to watch him play. You want to be there, quarterback, it's a tough position.
It is.
Every day's a great day. Yeah. And you want to be there as supportive. And it doesn't matter who you are or what level you are. As a parent, you want to be consistent on the good days, the bad days, and all that kind of stuff. But as far as games go, I can't really yell, watch out.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm the guy at the concession stand eating popcorn and cheering for your kid and cheering for the team and all those kind of things. So it's fun to watch him. Yeah. Last year was pretty cool when they played Florida. They're 23.5-point underdogs. And, you had some kids opt out. You had some kids quit. You had some kids that wanted to fight and stay for each other. They won the last 2 games of the season. They brought back a bunch of linemen that came back because they finished on a high note, knowing what they had, the expectations of this season. So it was a good note for them to finish as weird as the year was, and then excited about this year.
Yeah, and as a quarterback, you know how important those linemen are. You get those guys back, it's absolutely huge. But, you talk about the system, and I've been saying on this show, watching Max play with his ability to run, which you know as well as I do, the defense has to account for that. It takes a hat out of somewhere else. They bring in Jake Peets, DJ Mangus. Man, this offense seems like a perfect fit for Max. I'm sure he was, pretty excited, when they decided to hire him and the guys they hired and put him in that system. Because again, I just watched and it seems like it really plays to his strengths.
Right. Jake Peets has been around a while. He's only 38, but he's been around a lot of pro football teams, a lot of college football. Got a great understanding of system football and team and chemistry and all those kind of things. And so I know Max and all those guys are excited to be there in the new system. And you got a lot of guys had a great spring, having great some workouts, and it's a system that kind of fits him. About making quick decisions, knowing how to go through your protections, go through your progressions, and find your 5 eligibles. And so it's going to be an exciting year for those guys, no doubt.
No, it is, and I keep hearing. I talked to T-Bob and Hester and all those guys down there, and the word I keep hearing out of the locker room at LSU is hungry. And I think LSU, coming off last year where in a crazy pandemic year, off a national championship, we know the standard and the expectation and how it's been at LSU. But I know those guys got to be hungry in the offseason to get back out here. They got a big one against UCLA week 1. I'm sure Max and them are excited. Are you getting that vibe out of that locker room?
Yeah, I just know. I know it feels like guys are. I went to a bunch of spring scrimmages, went to the spring game, obviously, and seen some of the workouts and stuff like that. So it's fun to watch them. They all love being with each other. They have a lot of beliefs, especially in the last 2 games of the season last year, the way they finished on that note like that. And it was a weird year last year for a lot of different reasons. And that could be, you could spend, 10 podcasts trying to go through all that.
Yeah.
But I think they got a great group of guys. They got a chance to be sneaky good. They got to open up on the road with UCLA out the Rose Bowl, and then they'll make the march. But I know they got great coaches. They made a lot of changes, and got a lot of great players coming back.
Yeah, and you're a guy that's been in quarterback battles. So what advice have you given Max about just being in the battle? I know you talk about being consistent every day. Is it control what you can control? Is that kind of the main message you've put on to him?
It is. I mean, the only thing you can control is you're taught is your attitude and effort.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go by perceptions. You can't go by what people say. People they're not even at the practices or the meetings or what these kids are really, really about. The players will tell you what the players are really about. That's who you need to talk to and find out the heartbeat of your team. So I just think, for Max, he loves football. He loves being with his teammates, loves being an LSU Tiger. They got a lot of great guys that are going to fight for each other. It's going to be an exciting year for a lot of those guys and for the whole program. They got a chance to kind of redeem themselves,
Definitely. And look, Death Valley's going to be rocking. It's going to be back rocking like it normally is. I know they're excited about that. Brad, man, great stuff. I appreciate you taking some time. I know you're super excited for not only Max, but for the LSU football team. And tell everybody where they can find you. I do got to say this. You put out a video doing some trick shots the other day, and I told you before we got in the air, the ball you spun backwards over the goal that went in is witchcraft and wizardry of the highest order, my friend.
Well, try never to disappoint on some of those trick shots. Everybody enjoys, finds some humor behind it. Trying to produce one every couple of days,
Definitely. Well, where can people find you on social media to check that out? I know that first video you put out really blew up.
Yeah, I'm not really great on social media. You know what I mean? Honestly, I started this thing just a couple months ago, but I did Instagram and then Brad Johnson on Twitter. You'll find me. I'm not sure how it really goes. So if you look for me, you'll find me, I'm sure.
Oh, no doubt. And shoot, you keep making those trick shots, you may get some NIL of your own. But Brad, no, I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for joining us. We'd love to have you back on as we get closer to the season and some of this stuff shakes out as well.
I appreciate you having me on the show. Thank you.
Definitely. Appreciate you guys joining us as well. Subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Go to thejboyshow.com. Grab some of that merchandise. We're winning the water cooler every day over here. You're not going to get this anywhere else. We're getting inside the lines and behind the helmet. It's been another edition of the Jboy Show. We're going. Gone.
The Jboy Show is produced by David Cohn, Technical Director Dave Hammock, Creative Director David Culbertson, Audio Engineer Feyzan Shareef, Production Assistants Blaine Crain and Kyle Orr, Executive Producers Jake Crain, Vince Thompson, Steve Chamberlain, and David Cohn. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, thejboyshow.com, for updates regarding our newest apparel and merch designs. Win the water cooler with the Jboy Show.